Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Tarot by the Book. If you're new to this series, Tarot by the Book is going to be happening monthly here on my channel. I used to do this series weekly some time ago, then it moved to another channel, now it's back, but I just really love doing it, so it's not about to go by the wayside. Anyway, the way that this works essentially is I pick a deck fairly randomly. In fact, I usually draw it from a wheel of names of all of my decks, and I pick one that way, so I don't really think about it too much, I just grab one. And what I like to do in this series is do a 3-card, in this case month ahead reading for the collective. So you get to come along, join me for the reading. I like to put timestamps down below so you can navigate to whatever portion of the video you want to watch, all of it or just some of it. But I like to do the 3-card intuitive reading. And then I like to read the guidebook entries for the same 3 cards we drew so that we can compare and contrast what the guidebook has to say with what I intuitively read from the cards. It's a really great way to check out how decks work in action, to get a look and a feel for the actual guidebook, because a lot of us work with our guidebooks and some of us don't, but it's still kind of neat to get a peek into how a guidebook's written and what the creator intended for a deck. So I really love doing that. As you can see, this month we are working with the Tarot of the Crone. This is the indie edition. I don't know if it says what edition. I guess the indie first edition, I'm assuming. I don't know how many times it was printed, but this is before it was reprinted. And I say indie edition, but I don't think this one has gone mass market. I just think it was reprinted. I've just got some little extra cards I'm going to drop in the bottom here. Now I have edged my deck in black, but it also is just plain black backs, which is really cool. I don't think I have any other decks that have just a plain undecorated back. I do feel like they're going to show wear really easily, like there's a scratch on that card, because there's no pattern to kind of distract from the wear. But I also think it's kind of cool. So it feels like probably like 300 GSM, maybe 310. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. But it shuffles nicely and I like it. So we are going to do a 3-card reading. And what you can do if you want just a reading on the month ahead, then just stay tuned because that's the context I'm going to be reading from. But you can also focus on an issue that you think a reading with card positions of energy, obstacle, and advice would address for you. And if that's the case, just focus on that issue as I shuffle. And when you hear me talking about energy, obstacle, and advice for the month ahead, just apply them to your situation. And I find that really useful when I'm watching other readings. So we'll see where we end up. All right, let's see what we have here. Energy, 3 of Wands. Obstacle. Now this card position, we read it as if it were reversed, so as if it were blocked or in our way in some way. We have 9, the Hermit. And the advice is the Crossroads, 6. So these are major arcana cards. This is a Wands card. And we're going to zoom in and I'll give you my intuitive read of these 3 cards. So energy for the month ahead, the 3 of Wands. We have this cauldron just bubbling away with these 3 burning flames. And we have these 2 like snake-like things coming out with a 3rd pointing right up. And it gives me this feeling of like potency and of momentum is really what I'm feeling from this. As if we've been working on something and it's really starting to bubble away. It's really starting to take shape and we're sort of getting a feel for what that's going to be. Because this is a Wands card and we're looking at our month ahead and we're looking at the overall energy, it tells me that a lot of us are dealing with a month where we're going to really feel like things are starting to take shape. We're starting to actually make tangible progress. We might not have results yet, but we can feel that forward movement and it feels good and it's very, we can get swept up in it. A little side note of advice, make sure you don't get so swept up that everything else gets neglected or you lose sight of the big picture. But it can be a very exciting energy to be in. So enjoy it, ride it, but be present with it and outside of it as well. When we look at the central card 9, the major arcana card 9, the Hermit card, we're looking at this. This is so great. This is like a crone-like figure. This is the Tarot of the Crone. We have a crone-like figure here holding onto her 2 bags. And she's clearly been through life, but she's also looks like she's in a space by herself. She doesn't look unhappy. She looks almost as if this is just her space. This is where she hangs out. This is she's comfortable within her environment. And we see this as an obstacle card, and the Hermit in general can talk about retreating or pulling away from the world. And often we do that in a really conscious, mindful way in order to gain further wisdom or to learn or to grow. And I get the feeling like almost like it wasn't fully her choice to step away. I feel as if there was a little bit of, because we're looking at this, again, as if this were reversed. How might this energy be blocked? How might it be in the way? And I feel like a lot of us are feeling really cut off in a way, cut off from a source of our personal strength, perhaps cut off socially, but in a way that's making us feel more solitary than we wish. And I think it's important to remember that when we're in those moments, sometimes we're feeling more powerless than we actually are. And that's kind of a little bit what I'm getting from this card intuitively. When we look at the advice card, we have Crossroads. So this is in position 6 of the major arcana. So it's focusing on the concept of, this would normally be the Lover's card, right? But at the Crossroads, we're really looking more at choice, which is more of a, I would say, Marseille tradition look at the Lover's card. But we're really at this moment where we need to decide where we're going to put our attention and our focus. It's interesting to me that we have in the energy of the month ahead this very fiery momentum. Things are going well and they're going in the direction they're supposed to go. But then we also have this feeling of being kind of cut off. And I feel like where we put our energy this month is going to make a real difference in how everything plays out. And I think Crossroads is your gentle nudge, your gentle reminder that you are an active participant in your life. You get to decide what you're focusing on. Are you going to put all of your time and energy into trying to control things that you are not in control of and like let this pot kind of burn, scorch, boil over, like stop tending it essentially? Or are you going to tend this, breathe, know that everything will pass, and sort of see what comes about? Because I feel like where we put our attention and where we put our energy this month is going to be what determines how the month plays out. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what the guidebook has to say. I'm going to just move these over to the side. Now, the guidebook in Tarot of the Crone is really interesting. It's got these little almost like poem-like additions to it. So I'm really excited actually to see what comes through with the guidebook. So for the Three of Wands, the key word is magic. I set my intention in sacred space. I touch creation. Together we bring into being what has not been before now. 3 glowing red snakes arise from a cauldron fired by 3 yellow flames. Spirit moving in the realm of creation is magic. Magic is the manifestation of intention and the infusion of energy into matter. Magic is recognizing what you have given in, what is coming back to you. Now you see how it works. So take your tools, your intent, your ingredients, and your container. Bring everything together as artfully as you can. Weave and sing your best. Then let it go and sit back. For if you keep your focus up forever, it means you lack confidence, either in your power or the creativity of the universe. Give it time to give back and space to bring forth, but not before you've given all you have. Oh, I love that so much. So the Three of Wands actually kind of, in a way, contradicts what I was saying. I was like, we've got this momentum, we've got this thing. It's like taking on a life of its own. We need to tend it, but maybe the rest of my intuitive reading makes a lot more sense if we recognize we don't need to tend it. A watched pot never boils kind of thing. We need to put everything we have into that. And if you've already done that, then you need to like let the universe do what it needs to do, right? You need to allow the manifestation process to happen. So that's really cool. I love that. Let's take a look at our obstacle, the Hermit, and see what we can glean from the guidebook here. Ooh, okay. I speak. No one listens, but I know what I know. The Hermit is a bag lady, rejected by and rejecting comfortable society. She stands on the street of a faceless city, her own face exposed and eloquent. Her dress is a blue that recalls the depths of the ocean and sky and the boundlessness that lies beyond their shallow edges. She carries her bags in both hands because she's learned that balance gives her endurance. She is alone, but her isolation is the result, not the goal of her journey. Ooh, where she goes, others cannot follow. She seeks the mystery at the core of life, at the core of herself. She looks for the magic that exists, even in the most artificial environment. She seeks answers to questions that have not yet been born. The Hermit says, look to yourself for the answers. Look into the worlds inside you and the uncharted realms within, behind and beyond the ordinary. There are secrets only you are meant to discover and truths only you can divine. Oh, sorry. I just love this writing. Ellen Lorenzi-Prince is outstanding with the way that she puts things together. So, pulling the obstacle from that message, it's this, to me, this feeling of I speak, no one listens, but I know what I know. This idea that she is isolated, that it's not what she's going for, but it is the result of her experiences. So there's a sense of being cut off from maybe others, a feeling of being isolated and not having necessarily chosen that for the sake of isolation, but rather perhaps in the process of living life, this has been a consequence of experience. And I think if we look at that as the obstacle to trying to change and manifest things over the coming month, to me it means that there may be some enforced isolation, some periods of not being able to be in contact in ways you might want to. This makes sense. But a reminder that that's not all of who you are and that's not the whole of your experience, I think is really good advice. Let's look finally at our advice card, which is the 6, which is normally the Lover's card. If you think you can go back now, think again. The choice must be made. No one can help you. All you know cannot help you. You cannot know the future, but you must know your heart and choose to follow. Faces cloaked in shadow, triple Hecate stands at a crossroads on a moonless night. The brown paths indicate you have come to a time when making a decision affects your bodily existence, your life in the flesh, what you will do with your days and nights on this planet. The great hill behind Hecate says you don't always get to choose the ways your life will turn. You don't always get to see ahead. But when life does turn, make the best of it. Every face of hers is dark. She is not there to show you the way. She is there to challenge your path, to tell you to choose your course like your life depended on it. Her red cloaks and the living earth of the hill behind her tell you the knowledge of the way lies in the quiet of your mind, the strength of your heart, and the deep wisdom of your body. Listen, each aspect is telling you in its own way how to live a life that includes their power. Oh my gosh, this deck just gives me goosebumps. I don't even know how to take that and synergize it with my intuitive message because it's so dang good. Choosing your path feels really important here, particularly when we look at a potential sense of powerlessness introduced by the Hermit card. There's a real advice here to tune into your own power, to recognize that you get to choose where you're going next. And I think that that's valid, strong, amazing advice. But whew, boy, that packs a punch. So that, my friends, is the Tarot of the Crone, and this has been Tarot by the Book. I hope you all have a lovely month ahead. It sounds like for a lot of us, things are going to be cooking away and perhaps some big decisions for some of us on the horizon. Trust your heart. Know your power. I think those are good takeaways from today's messages. I really enjoy this series. The Tarot of the Crone is, at the time of this filming, currently available unless it's already sold out again, but it was recently reprinted. So hopefully you can get your hands on a copy if this spoke to you. Very, very potent, very fiery and warrior-y and empowering. Intense in its own special way, super unique. Not necessarily a deck I'd recommend for beginners unless you just really want to work with these images, this artwork, and this guidebook, which offers so much depth and wisdom. But this is not necessarily a deck I would work with without this spectacular guidebook. And I think you'd be missing something, I think, if you didn't at least read this through one time before just kind of going your own way, because there's so much beauty and power here. But that's just my opinion. Everybody's going to do their own thing. But that was like a lot of juicy good stuff. So very, very exciting. Very enjoyable to work with. The Tarot of the Crone. All right, that was Tarot by the Book. Thank you so much for joining me. All my relevant links are down below for you to check out, but please do like this video before you go. Subscribe if you're new here. Do all of those good things. And as always, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.